The Journey of the Reluctant Mystic. I use that title for two reasons. The first one is, I know some people will look at that word mystic and have different ideas about it and think it's a little strange and all of that. But there are other people who might understand that there's something happening to them where they're recognizing or being awakened to some other aspect of themselves that is brand new. And so this could be some guidance for them or something that could cause them to not feel so strange that they're changing, because the fact is we're all changing. The world is changing, and I'm sure you've noticed it. And I've noticed it for a long time, and that's why I'm talking about this. But the other reason is this is what my work is about now, is guiding people to their authentic selves. So I wanted to talk about that because this is so important for me, because the world needs this work, and I'll tell you why. We're moving through a big galactic change that we've not experienced, and you can feel all the disruption. But for you, it is about you becoming who you're meant to be. My work is about guiding the individual to live their best life, and I have that information. And it took me many, many years to get it, to come up with it, but now I do have it. And what I am doing now is working with those people who want to move through this transition, move through the elements of themselves to find out why they're here, why they're on the earth, and become that. And I've been doing it for a really long time. And I'll tell you why I say I'm the reluctant mystic, because I held it back forever. You may have held back things about yourself. And when you accept your authentic self, that is when you really live the life that you're meant to have. In 1988, I began something called automatic writing, where I would sit and meditate and receive information. I did it because I was moving through a challenging time in my life and I needed some help. I needed some guidance. And I suffered through so many other things earlier in my life, so this was just another period. But what started happening was I was receiving information. I did not let anyone see that in the very beginning. It was a very personal thing for me, but what I did find is that it was changing my life. It allowed me to create a business. It allowed me to get through many, many illnesses and crazy accidents and all the things that I had, because it was changing my mind. It was changing my consciousness. We all have access to information that is beyond what we know. We have intuition. We don't always trust it. We don't always listen to it, and we don't always know if it's real. That's what goes on for most of us as we live our lives, and I went through that a great deal of my life. But then I started to trust it. When I started to see the results that I was receiving, there is no way that I should even still be alive with all the things that I had happened to me in my life, and that I then moved through. I published a book in 2019, you might have seen that, called Overcoming Fear. Now, the reason I did that is because I had moved through so much fear in my life, because it held me back forever, and I knew I had to give it back to others. It was still challenging for me. I was still wanted to be reluctant in writing that. I talked about it in the foreword, because I kept very private, and I'm also introverted, and people think that doesn't make sense, but that's how I have felt. You may have felt that way as well, that you really can't hold on to something about yourself that you know is there and you don't know if it's real. Well, I've developed a process. I've developed something that helps you do that, because it's all within you. We just needed to have the right questions to receive those answers, and I've gotten them so much. I published one of these messages yesterday on social media. It was from 1993, and I just wanted people to see the information. Now, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it when I received it, and it took me a while, even as I published it last night, to look at it and understand what it meant. And what it was telling me was that I was having physical problems because I was disconnected from who I was on an emotional level. And a lot of us do that. We get into horrible relationships because we have no idea who we are. Or we have business failures because we're doing the wrong thing, because we can't own who we are. I've done all those things. That's why I guide people through that. And I have the information to do it. Now, it was a little crazy for me, too, to think that I really get this information, and the fact is I did. And we're moving through a period in our world where it becomes far more beneficial for you to become your best self, for you to live the life that you were meant to have, because then you're going to put a different kind of energy into the world. You're going to love yourself. You're going to put light and love into the world, and that will help shift things. And as I've said many times, if you start to study quantum physics or mechanics or any of that stuff, you see how things are created, how you're creating your life. It is through your thinking, through your consciousness. But we have levels. We have levels of consciousness that we move throughout our lifetimes. There are different terms that you can think of: evolving, ascension, which is what I'm saying is happening into our world right now. But every level that you become willing to move through, you become better. You own who you are. You are all connected to source, to something beyond what you see now. Not everyone is going to believe that. In my work, what I am guiding you to believe what is your reality, because you have that, and it is something connected to you, the individual, and your soul. You came to do something that is meaningful in the world. When people don't know this, you live terrible lives, and then we collectively have a crazy world because we have people who don't know who they are. And then being reluctant or being holding back what we know is not helpful for anyone. Everything that you have lived, that you have experienced, is valuable when you understand why you had it. And that's what I had to move through. That's what I had to come and become and understand, really, that that's what was happening. And it is this period now. I was told with my work a while ago, I've done this for a long time, but I was told this particular period of our world, and you've seen it already, and I've been putting out this information for a while, that we were going to go through some turbulent times, but it's for the good. And the way that we make it good is when each person decides to become who they are and live the life they were meant to have. Now, and as I've said many times, success and failure are choices. And you will succeed when you decide to become who you are, when you decide to become your authentic self. Now, I didn't do that for a really long time, and it caused me all sorts of problems. It screws up your life, and that's why I never want anyone to go through that. And that's why I have this information. And you're going to see in the next bit of time in our world where it's going to be a little disruptive. But again, if you're focused in your moment of now on who you're meant to be, you're going to have a completely different life. But this is the work that I'm doing now, so I wanted people to understand, and those who might want to, are considering coming to me as a client, or people who are doing marketing or any of that, just understand that my only goal at this point in my life, because this is the last thing I'm doing in my life, is to guide as many people as possible to becoming happy, successful, prosperous, and being them what they're meant to be, which is their authentic self. That's the work that I'm doing, and I'm so thrilled that I can do it now.